it. I enjoyed it. And then they were like, oh, by the way, don't go near this group of people. They could kill you. Welcome back to another bookish video, and today we are going to be talking about an audiobook that I recently listened to called The Tea Shop Witch. Now, when I originally found this book, I found it on the Play bookstore, and it looked really cute. That's what I was looking for, a cute audiobook to listen to while I exercised and while I cleaned, because it's kind of hard to read a physical book when you're trying to actually do stuff. And I didn't feel like listening to music. Honestly, I haven't felt like listening to music in a while, but that's not the point. The summary of this book goes, Addie James's life imploded when she discovered her fiancé's cheating and got downsized from her biotech job. So she left the Silicon Valley for the haven of her Aunt Kate's tea and apothecary shop in the peaceful mountain town of Stargaze. There she plans to take a deep breath and figure out what's next. Now see, from the description and from the cute cover, it seems like a really cute discovering yourself sort of story and living for yourself. But as soon as you started reading the audiobook, things went off the rails. Before I get into that, there will be spoilers for this book. If you do not want the spoilers, you can leave now. And let's talk about the characters. Now, the characters of this book are, as it said, it's Addie, who is 26, and she has just discovered her fiancé was cheating on her. So she dips out and says, the engagement's off, I need out of here. And she wants to go help her aunt and start over at her hometown. She isn't jaded about this whole thing with her fiancé. She just wants to put it in her rearview mirror and be done and start over. She's a likable character. She's kind. She cares for her aunt, and she feels like a very real character because she's a scientist, and stuff that happens in the book, she's like, this can't be real. Y'all are crazy. What is happening here? Can we find a real explanation? So she's a really grounded, really easy character to follow. Our second character is her aunt. And her aunt is kind of there in a lot of mention, and you'll figure out why when I talk about the summary of this book. But she is very much a character because the story centers around Kate and her aunt. And then you have Kate's friend Chelsea, who is always there being like the moral support of the group. She's kind of that friend that's always like, okay, let's figure this out, let's do something for fun. She's that friend. And then you have a character named Trey, who shows up out of the blue when her car breaks down, and he's kind of a character that comes in that the woman can kind of like and there to help her when she needs help. So those are kind of our characters. There are a lot of side characters and the villain, but they're not as prevalent as the four that I mentioned, so I only mentioned the four. So now that the characters are out of the way, let's get into the summary of this book. I'm coming up with all sorts of solutions on how to prop my cameras up. You are on a bunch of pillows right now. But anyway, as I said, the summary of this book seems like it'll be a very cozy fantasy story. But you find out very quickly when you start listening that it is not a cozy fantasy. It actually turns out to be a sort of murder mystery fantasy, but not a murder mystery fantasy. And I know that sounds confusing, and trust me it was, but we follow Addie as she gets to this small town of Stargaze where her aunt's tea shop is. And when she gets to the tea shop, she can't find her aunt. And she's like, well, maybe my aunt's out helping people or out making a delivery, because she makes all these herbal remedies and helps people that are less fortunate around the town. So at first, Addie doesn't think anything of it, even though she can't get a hold of her aunt, she decides to get reacquainted with a friend of hers, Chelsea. And Chelsea is going to be there with her throughout the book as sort of her moral support and helping her try to figure out what happened to her aunt. On the first date, Chelsea kind of writes it off as her aunt being busy or being out of town for the minute and just not telling her. So she takes it upon herself to kind of move in, but then she wakes up in the middle of the night and she thinks she hears a bump down in the tea shop because her aunt lives in the apartment above the tea shop. So she goes down to invest, finds her aunt on the floor in a puddle of her own blood. So she calls the cops. But when the cops get there, Kate is gone. Her aunt is gone. And so she's like, no, I swear she was here. I heard a bump. I came back, she was gone. And the cops are like, are you sure? Because there's clearly nothing here and you were here the whole time. How could the body have disappeared? It's not like she could have walked away. So Addie is very confused. She's like, this isn't possible. I know what I saw. I'm not crazy. And so it quickly becomes her going around the town compiling a list of suspects who could have been responsible for this. And every time a suspect was mentioned, I'm like, it's not gonna be any of these, because it rarely ever is the people that they think are a suspect that end up being the suspect. And to be completely honest with you, for a while through listening to the audiobook, I thought it was the friend Chelsea, because she is always with Addie through the book. And I'm like, either you're going deep on, you're staying close to her in order to like throw her off your trail, or because you think staying close to her and being friendly will be another way to camouflage yourself and keep yourself out of the situation. But I was wrong, so that was nice. It wasn't Chelsea, but there are clues given to Addie throughout the book. Like, she finds her aunt's purse somewhere. She finds her aunt's like guest checkbook that she keeps notes in every time someone comes in. And she decides one time that even though being a scientist, she doesn't believe in witchy stuff and magic, she decides to try her hand at reading tea leaves. And there's a symbol of a brain, a flower in a jar, a lightning bolt between two people, the letter L, and someone being alive but not alive. And she's trying to decipher what the heck that means, or if tea leaf readings are even true. So armed with that little clue from the tea leaves, despite not believing in magic because she's a scientist, she starts trying to decipher it. Like, who could the letter L be? It could be this lady who I can't remember the name of that starts with an L, because she wants my aunt's shop. And then she's like, but wait a minute, I just found out that this woman came to my aunt to have a pregnancy taken care of because she was having an affair and wanted to hide the affair. It's like, this is not what I signed up for. This is not what the description said it was. But now I'm invested. Now I'm into this, because what the hell did happen to her aunt? I want to know. I was not prepared for a murder mystery, and when I tell you what happened to her aunt, I was definitely not prepared for it. Like, when they brought up what actually happened to her aunt, I laughed out loud, because I was here for like the sort of kind of witchy stuff that was sprinkled throughout the book. But major spoilers, so click away if you don't want it. And now that people that have clicked away, it was zombies! Freaking zombies came out of nowhere! And I'm like, okay, I was here for the sort of kind of witchy stuff, but now you're telling me that Kate has been a zombie this whole time and just was not able to talk to Kate because she was in the process of transitioning to a zombie after she was attacked and killed because one of her friends that she knew was a zombie. So he took her and, to save her life, turned her into a zombie. And I was like, I was expecting a lot of different scenarios. Like, I was expecting her aunt to be incapacitated but alive, like, you know, alive but not alive. But I did not expect zombies to be the solution, and it was just like, okay, that came out of nowhere. So it turns out that the girl that was having the affair, her husband had found out about the affair because she was literally sleeping with the doctor that was attached to the building that her husband owned. So he found out about the affair, and Georgia, the girl that was having the affair, was good friends with Kate. So she was like, please help me, I know you have a remedy for pregnancy, I need it. And Kate was like, no, this was your mistake, I'm not helping you do this. When Georgia goes to Kate for help, her husband, Lance, which is where the L comes from, comes and attacks her. But he attacked Kate on accident because they look the same from behind. So freaking out, he stages it to look like a robbery and runs. And Georgia runs too. It was this whole complicated mess, all started by an affair, and Kate was not the original target of the attack. And I gotta tell you, I was here for it. I liked it, even though the description was nothing like what the book gave us. I liked it, I enjoyed it. And then they were like, oh, by the way, don't go near this group of people. They could kill you because they're zombies. Like, I get the alive but not alive thing was in there, and that was your clue that it's like, hey, something else is going on. But I wasn't expecting zombies. So in the end, it all comes out happily ever after. Kate is fine because she's a zombie. Like, she died, but she's fine. She wears makeup to cover that up so nobody suspects. She puts eye drops in so they can't see her bloodshot eyes. And she gets supplies delivered to her so she won't go rabid zombie and attack people. So it's like, it was a very bizarrely sweet story and nothing like the description said it was going to be. It wasn't a long listen either. It was like 7 hours, and when you consider that I exercise for an hour or two a day, plus cleaning takes me a while, I read through this fairly quickly, and it was a laughably good time. It was suspenseful, and then they got to zombies, and I was just like, okay, this is the book we're getting now. I'm just gonna laugh my head off about the whole zombie thing and then enjoy the happy ending. And there are other books to the series, but honestly, you could read the first one as a standalone because it does wrap up really well. And I'm just gonna stick with a standalone because I have no interest to read the rest of the story. But I'm going to continue A Court of Mist and Fury. I have 200 pages left. My butt just hasn't been wanting to read for a while, so I took a break and I really want to get back into it. But here recently I've been writing my own story, and I don't know if I'm gonna post it or publish it or whatever, but you know, maybe. I've been more writing instead of reading. So I'm going to continue this here soon, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching this, and I hope to see you next time.